The capacity to acquire and process information is directly linked to the ability to store and preserve the knowledge. And this is very much true in the realm of data management and analysis. In today's presentation, I'll walk you through a similar scenario wherein we not only need to retain the data, but need to effectively manage it and derive meaningful insights from it. I'll showcase a solution which we have architected for our customers to solve their data retention, management, and governance requirements. My name is Manjit Chakraborty, and I'm a Senior Solutions Architect here in AWS. I'm part of the global financial services organization, which caters to the largest systematically important banks around the globe. In my role, I get to work very closely with customers who operate within very stringent regulatory frameworks. So let's dive in for today's session. So I have a simple agenda for today. I'll start off with the business case. I'll walk you through the key requirements, and then I'll show you the solution overview and the architecture. I'll end that up with AWS services, which we have leveraged in the solution, and then we'll discuss next steps. So firstly, why do we need the solution? So the need for a robust data retention and management solution often arises from various factors. The first and foremost, what we have seen is legacy application modernization. So as organizations embark on modernization journeys, legacy applications are retired, prompting the need to retain the data and historically retain the data and for future references or regulatory compliance, right? Now, talking about regulatory compliance, the second one is actually that particular requirement wherein most of the industries, or I would say like many industries such as finance, healthcare, or government, face stringent regulations that mandate data retention requirements for extended periods, and that often spans decades. Of course, there is also a possibility of potential future reference, wherein organizations may need to preserve data for potential future references, audits, or analysis, even if immediately there's no use case which are not that apparent. The last, or I would say like one of the other requirements is the data governance and access control, which is to ensure the proper data governance and access controls and auditability is there over the data. And as the data volume grows and it becomes complex, the challenges with managing the proper governance structure comes into play. Now, based on extensive conversations with teams across numerous organizations, we had identified 10 key success factors that we can say defines a compatible and complete solution for data retention, management, and governance. So let me walk you through this key success factors, or in other words, or in basic terminology, is the basic requirements which we should have in that solution. So the first one is, of course, a long-term data retention. So as I said, accommodating retention periods of 10 to 30 years, as we have seen with many customers. So that's primarily important. The second one is the periodic data access, and which enables authorized teams to access data as needed without any definitive patterns. The third one is the streamlined identity and access management, to provide a centralized and scalable approach to managing enterprise users and entities and access rights. The fourth one we have seen is privilege preservation, and this is kind of a requirement from many teams who want to maintain their existing privileges and rights to ensure seamless data access. So whatever access they have for currently for their teams on their on-prem maybe data stores, they want to carry it over to the new data source as well. The fifth one is query compatibility, which again is comes back to the low code or minimal refactoring. Database versatility, catering to various on-prem databases, including Oracle, SQL Server, DB2, and many others. Of course, the solution needs to be cost-effective and scalable. Then comes your data mutability, which enables authorized updates or deletions of data upon request or as per regulatory requirements. Last but not the least is the transparency and accountability, which provides visibility into data access and modifications for the auditing purposes. So this is how the end-to-end solution will look like, the one which you see on your screen. So if I have to walk you through the solution, So on your left, you see the on-premises databases, which are being migrated through AWS Database Migration Service. It's a managed service, and we are leveraging the AWS DMS serverless option here over a direct connect network for speed and efficiency. The DMS workflow is integrated with AWS Glue. Again, it reduces one extra step wherein you do not need to run the Glue crawler once your data is landing on the S3. And the entire Glue step is integrated inside the DMS workflow. Again, AWS Glue helps with the schema discovery that will create the Glue catalog tables, and through lake formation, we manage the entitlements on those Glue catalog tables, and we provide the required access accordingly to the users. Now, the point to note here is that we leverage the lake formation tags, otherwise known as LF tags, for granting those granular level access on databases, tables, and columns. And also, the permissions will be based upon the SSO groups and not individual users, making it much easier to track the permissions. Once the permissions are in place, we can have our users log into Athena and query it. And for those tables which may need the capability or may have the requirement to be able to insert, update, or delete records, we have introduced iceberg tables, which again can be managed the same way as other Glue catalog tables are being managed, and they can also be queried from the same query engine, which is Athena here. For identity federation, we are using IAM Identity Center. And once you have established the trust relationship between your existing IDP and IAM Identity Center, your users and groups will seamlessly flow through the IAM Identity Center. And you can manage them with permission sets. These permission sets will define what access they have on your AWS resources. So in this case, if you'll see, we're allowing our federated users to only have access to Athena to run queries in their own workgroups. And all those are being granted through the respective permission sets. And lastly, all the activities would be tracked inside the AWS CloudTrail. All right. So to address this key success factor, as I said, like we have leveraged a suite of AWS services, and since I understand that many of the audience here may not be that much familiar with our AWS services in general, so I'm just going to quickly walk you through the services which we have used, and overall you can see how the services mapped to the requirements which I have charted out previously in one of the earlier slides. So the first one, as you might recall from the previous architecture diagram, is the AWS IAM Identity Center. AWS IAM Identity Center, and this is a centralized service for managing human user access to AWS resources, and it enables streamlined identity and access management across multiple accounts and environments. And the second one for data migration is the AWS Data Migration Service. And this is a managed migration and replication service that facilitates the secure and efficient data migration to AWS with minimal downtime and zero data loss. The third one is AWS Glue and AWS Lake Formation. And between them, they are the serverless data integration and governance services that simplify the data discovery, preparation, movement, and integration while centralizing the permissions management. Amazon Athena for a serverless interactive analytics service, and it is built on open source framework supporting open table file formats for querying and analyzing data at scale. Apache Iceberg, we introduced this to have the capability of updating the data store as and when required. So it's again an open source high performance format for managing and querying massive analytics tables. It enables efficient data cross manipulation. The CloudTrail is again a service that captures and logs all the actions taken within an AWS account, and it's actually required, or it provides a comprehensive audit trail for data access and modifications. Last but not the least, the data store is our old tried and tested S3 object store. And by combining these AWS services, we have crafted a solution that not only addresses the challenge of data retention and management, but also unlocks new possibilities for data-driven innovation and decision making. Next steps. So adopt, share within your networks and customers. If you need to reach me, I have my mail ID listed in the first slide. Again, it's Manjit, my name, cv@amazon.com. I also have few upcoming AWS blog posts which will be publicly available. So once those are out, you can probably have a detailed level description of how this works, and there would also be setup steps required. I'm also planning to make it open source, meaning that you will have a GitHub repository where you can actually go and using the repository, you can very quickly set the entire pipeline in your own environments. But yep, those are the things I'm planning to do. So that's all for today, and thank you.